All right, hey, good afternoon, everybody. I might have whipped technology's butt today and actually gotten us on live stream and everything. So sorry, I'm getting an echo. Let me fix that real quick. Okay, I'm back with you. And again, I think we have some good technology today, and I'm recording it. And like always, I will push it out via email afterwards. So just some good news, and that is some good news across the board is that we are now, Veterans in Farming is now a nonprofit. We've gotten that approval by the IRS as a 501c3. So that's great news. We're moving forward with a bank account, credit card, and we'll be able to, get some tax benefits from the 501c3, as well as other benefits. In my experience, there are little ones out there, even getting stuff from Lowe's or something else ends up being pretty beneficial. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I hope you are as well. Kind of a layout of the financials. John Antel, I texted today, and he couldn't make it. He had a class, but we have uh, kind of the requirements or the cost for the year, and as we move forward month by month, we'll get this a little better. So we're holding like a $2 million liability policy with $250 per year cost. I just want to check real well. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Super, thank you. So we're holding a $2 million liability policy that way, if we have an accident or something like that, we're covered. It costs about $250 per year. We have a website that's about $240 per month, and we just bought some brochures. They were about $140 for the sheet copies and $60 for the cards, and we spent about and that's for about 1,000 of each. I do have the due out of a pending email for dues, a yearly dues of $5, really to see where that goes and how we work that. But overall, it may look like we're a little backward. We have a lot of personal support holding up Veterans in Farming, but our goal with John is to change that a little bit and kind of turn that around in both maybe indirect costs and grants and other things. So today we have Erica Heater on with Indiana State Department of Agriculture, and she's going to talk about some overall grant opportunities that we'll get to on the second slide. And Erica, I appreciate you coming on today. So we're also working a SARE partnership grant. John Anhill's working that. And so you may get a reach out from John, or if you have any ideas on a partnership grant. If you're not familiar with the SARE program, it's got some excellent opportunities with both education and research and other things that John's going to put Veterans in Farming in for. And now that we have a bank account and nonprofit status, we can really start to get some traction under us. So also we're working on a concept for a farm stop in Anderson with Jerry Alexander and the team. So as that develops, I'll keep you informed. And then I really need some help or some digging on this. If anybody would like to help with, kind of the concept of, and I brought this up last month, not asking for help, but my bandwidth has since changed. Planting brambles and other fruit-bearing trees in a equipment safety class up at Jack's Farm in Anderson. That's our incubator farm up in Anderson. We're also looking at doing mushrooms and rabbits out at Porter Farm down in Danville. I think we're going to look at some opportunities for a processing trailer. I know you as the membership has mentioned a few times that processing poultry or chickens or the others or other small items, small animals are challenging. So we're going to look about leveraging our business practices towards a processing trailer of some sort for the group. And then Addie's Orchard, which you guys know is the nonprofit near and dear to me. We're probably going to do some honey harvesting classes in August and September up at the Bateman Center in Anderson as well. And then just so everybody knows kind of what's going on, Ag Vets, a lot of us belong to that program, is a USDA grant. Hoosier Upland, Linda Tarr, fantastic lady. Hoosier Upland, the grant ends for them after 2 extensions in August this month. They have reapplied, and I will keep you informed on the reapplication of that. That has opportunity to pay for conferences. Some of you might have gone to the National Training Workshop for Agribility. That was paid for Ag Vets. Also, it has the opportunity to pay for other conferences that we might have. So I'll keep you informed, but just know that if you're in the Ag Vet program, Linda will probably send out some closing emails until we get a status, hopefully from the USDA, approving us for another couple of years. But that is not up to us. They submitted the packet, and it's up to the USDA. And then lastly, and then I'll leave this area up for any discussion points before we move into opportunities and give Erica an opportunity to discuss a program she's working on, is I think I'm going to move this to kind of a once a month membership meeting, and that way nobody's overtaxed by it. Multiple meetings. I think we got some legs under us. I know I owe Tammy a little bit more revisions on the our secretary Tammy, a few more revisions on the bylaws, but we're continuing to work on that, and we'll continue to put that out. So first of all, any questions on this slide or any comments from the membership? Please let me know or raise a hand. Okay, I just see a few comments. Thanks, Will. Yep, got the nonprofit. That was a little bit of drama, but I got through that. And then once a month, Joshua, yeah, I appreciate that as well. So let me go to the next set of slides and give somebody else the opportunity to talk. So I'm going to pop up kind of continuous slides, but as I do that, Erica, did you want to talk about the Resilient Food System Infrastructure Program as I bring up the other slides?
Sure. So the ISDA, which I'm Erica Heater, I'm the ISDA Agribusiness Engagement Director. So ISDA received a grant from the USDA, and it is called the Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Grant. Indiana received about $8 million, actually just a little bit over $8 million for this grant, and it is for middle of the food chain. So anything from the farm gate to the plate. That's distribution, aggregation, cold storage, transportation. If you have the land, you can build it. But it does exclude meat, poultry, wild caught seafood, animal feed, and dietary supplements. But anything else outside of that realm is included in the middle of the food chain. It is a matching grant. So in the competitive portion of the grant, it is a 50% match unless you are veteran-owned, women-owned, socially disadvantaged, or historically underserved farmer or rancher, and then it is a 25% match at that point. And the awards are anywhere between $100,000 up to $3 million. And there is another portion that is a special equipment portion, and it's going to be run kind of parallel. It does not require a match, but it is for any special equipment for middle of the food chain that is between $10,000 and up to $100,000. So we're hoping to roll out applications around January for the special equipment piece. We're going to do hopefully January, February for the special equipment rounds, and then March and April for the infrastructure competitive rounds. So that's everything else, that 100,000 up to $3 million. And then we'll have everything wrapped up as far as the applications go by May of 2024. And then the award period will be May of 2024 to May of 2027. So all projects will need to be done by May of 2027 because there won't be any extensions due to the fact that this is still COVID money, essentially. So that is the RFSI in a nutshell. There are some other kind of pieces at the state level that we can do, and we haven't hashed out all the details, so I don't want to share something that doesn't end up happening quite yet, but more to come from that aspect too.
Hey, thank you, Erica. We might have a couple questions and I'll leave it up to the group if they have any, but my first question is, when it comes to the opportunity for the sharing, does that include poultry, or is poultry and like a harvesting
meat.
trailer out of the call on that?
Meat, poultry, and wild caught seafood are all excluded. So that harvesting trailer, unfortunately, that one would not be for this program. However, we did also receive approval for our meat and poultry intermediary lending program, which is a mouthful to say. And that is going to be rolled out about the same time, and that can be used for a processing trailer. It would just be a low interest loan, and that's also going to be ran through the ISDA.
Okay, super. And then somebody, Ben asked a question, if it would work for land.
You cannot purchase land. No.
Okay.
I'm going to
And-
type the meat program into the chat here. That way everybody's got the name of it, but it will be rolling out hopefully around the same time. We just got our approvals from this state to accept the funds for that program. And then we've got a few other pieces to fit together, and then we'll be putting out public announcements for the meat and poultry program as well.
Okay, super. And then Doug asked a question, how that would work, or what do you think some ideas maybe are around bison and pastures and kind of his challenges?
Bison would fit into that meat and poultry intermediary lending program. I am not the expert on that program. That would be David Coates. And I think, Joe, you've got both of our contact information. So we would be happy to kind of set up some one-on-one time for the bison question. But this would not help out as far as the Resilient Food System Infrastructure Grant will not do anything with the land or the actual harvest. It's once that produce is harvested. So a walk-in freezer would be applicable for this program. However, I'm asking the question to USDA of, if that freezer is shared between produce and meat, will the meat portion disqualify it? They haven't given us great guidance on that yet. So more to come.
Okay, no, super. And then I'll share it with the group based upon what you get through emails and Facebook and the like. So, but that sounds like a pretty awesome program. You know, I know the nonprofit I work with a lot, Addie's Orchard, has grabbed onto a lot of that COVID money, and it's kind of surprising that it's still around, but it does give us quite a bit of benefit.
It does, yes. And these are going to be great programs to run parallel to each other, so we can both help the meat and the produce space. So, you know, hopefully we can do a lot of good for Indiana. We're taking the ISDA grant funds from 400,000 for the specialty crop block grant up to 24 million between specialty crop block, RFSI, and the meat and poultry lending program. So we've got a lot of good things coming.
That sounds great. And then I'm going to throw this out there and love your opinion on it. You know, it seems to me that when you're a farmer and you have something as specific like I do between bees and an orchard and bison, you really have to get into that grant program that is your niche. Like for orchard and bees, I really get into specialty crop. And,
For sure.
and once you get in there, it really seems to flow a little better instead of trying to cross the streams, if that makes sense. You kind of think the same thing?
Yes, I agree.
So, and Will has just shared the Resilient Food Infrastructure Grant. and we'll
And there
put
will be
out,
more on the ISDA website. So the Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Grant, our state plan is due August 23rd to USDA. So once we get our state plan in and get their kind of responses back to us, we will update the ISDA website with more information. Currently, there is one pagers with just very generic, basic information for both the Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Grant and the Meat and Poultry Intermediary Lending Grant on the ISDA website, which I can also put in the chat as well.
no, that's super. I appreciate that. And I have those fact sheets, and I will, when I roll up this YouTube and post it, I'll send those fact sheets out as well to everybody. So thank you. Any other questions for Erica? Okay. Thank you. Thank you again, Erica, for joining us tonight.
Yes, thanks for having me. And like I said, I'll put that website for the ISDA in the chat, and then I'll let you guys get back to your meeting, but please feel free to share my information. I'm happy to talk one-on-one with anybody.
Absolutely. And you're more than welcome to stay on board to see what else we're doing. Just happy to share and being pretty open about it.
Thank you.
So, okay, for the group, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the Soil and Water Outcome Fund. So everybody might remember last month we had a discussion on the Soil and Water Outcome Fund. As we talked about, that was the fund that we were kind of trying to figure out how that works. But I'm going to post that link and information right now real quick. So this is the information. Hopefully you can see it. The QR code is actually to the Zoom meeting we had last month. But if you go to the https theoutcomesfund.com, you know, it is the opportunity for both you as an individual to get reimbursed or paid for your practices, your sustainable practices on your farm. You know, they have had as much as an average of $34 per acre for farmers to enroll on that. And then we as an organization, we would get $2 per acre. I was wondering if anybody on the line has tried that. Doug, I know we chatted quite a bit about it. I had another friend put in for it. Does anybody else have any other thoughts on it, or has anybody tried that and have comment on it? Oh, it's interesting, Doug, that you didn't qualify. Was that because you lease your land, or what was the thought on not qualifying, if you don't mind me asking? Ah, he owns the land. Okay. Well, I appreciate you, Doug, for reaching out. And anybody else who wants to reach out, but the Soil and Water Outcome Fund is it sounds like a good program. Didn't cost anything for us to enroll in it. But if you're interested in it, you know, and you have any questions, please let me know. I can connect you. And it's more about doing row crops is what Doug wrote. And it makes a lot of sense. So probably more of a impact doing row crops than there is doing a bison. Although, you know, some people, Doug, might talk to you about bison emissions. Just saying. So, okay, I'm going to go on to the next comment or the next area. Hold on one sec.
I got a question about the outcomes, Joe.
Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, to take what Doug said in light, I saw your comment, Doug, about you owning the land. So do you own it free and clear title? Because I'm in the same boat. I own my land free and clear title. So I do have cover crops already established on that. So I don't know if that still helped me or not, but I'll look into it, Joe, and I'll let you know.
Okay, and Tim, you can, I'll shoot you my phone number if you want to connect with Doug and maybe ask him what his challenges were or talk to them. But I sent my number in there, Tim, and feel free to give me a shout. I can connect you with Doug. Any other questions on the soil and water outcome fund? Okay. Sorry, I'm reliving my days of IT stuff. So everybody might have gotten an email or a couple of them from Purdue Safety. So Purdue Safety, Elma, I'm sorry, is doing a reach out, kind of a discussion on how people are farming and their food safety concerns. How their food safety concerns are out in for them. They're reimbursing $75 on that. And if anybody's interested, I will share Alma's information again, and feel free to reach out to her on that. See if you are interested in doing that. Okay, the next thing is going to be our conference at Fair Oaks. I'm going to go through that kind of quickly, but I did want to share a few things. So I'm going to kind of share a little bit of kind of where we're at on finances and how we're constructing that. We are probably going to reset that meeting a little bit just to make it more available to people. So if I'll send out new details on that shortly. So let me share that screen real quick. Okay, so I think I'm right now sharing kind of the tab that we have up for the beginning farmer portion. So committee got together, we talked quite a bit, kind of some of the things we talked about that would be important for a beginning farmer, which will be one leg of that training, will be business planning, farm economics and marketing, purchasing property, resourcing land, NRCS grants, loans, NRCS and grants, and then maybe a detailed discussion on commodities. What I found with my experience with farmers, of veterans wanting to go into farming and beginning farming, is that those seem to be a pretty good baseline requirement. Soon, because this conference is until January, we'll start to reach out for people to give classes, and my connections with Purdue and Agribility, I'm pretty confident we can do that. So that's going to be the beginning farmer track. And then if you have an interest in the advanced topics, what we had talked about from the, hopefully it's showing. Let me see real quick. Yep, so the advanced topics, what we had talked about was kind of an intro to beekeeping, maybe the heroes to hives, which I think times out nicely, because that will be the beginning of the sign up for heroes to hives, or probably midway through it. So we'll see where we can get for heroes to hives on beekeeping. A lot of people mentioned beginning orchard. We'll try to get an expert on that. One of the things was also grants and the opportunities for grants. Rural farming opportunities. We had some comments that there are opportunities with rural farming that we think we might be missing. Sustainable farming, like what we're doing now with the Water Outcomes Fund. And then mushroom organic farming, maybe a Q&A on Master Gardener, farm economics and QuickBooks. A lot of people mentioned, how do I manage the farm? How do I do those accounting practices? And Ben, I got your note on sheep and goats are probably a good topic as well. And if anybody else has any, please put them in the chat. Sheep and goats are huge producers in Indiana, and we certainly want to support that. But what we see for kind of this advanced one, where the beginning farmer one seems to work a lot in series, to go from one to the next, and you kind of stay in the same group. We see the advanced topics as maybe having different tracks, where person attending the conference has the opportunity to maybe do sheep and goats. And if they're not interested in that, maybe beekeeping is at the same time, so they can go to a beekeeping discussion. So we still need to work out space and how that's going to work space wise at Fair Oaks, but it is developing. I want to give you confidence that it is developing, and it is developing well for us there. So any other comments, please feel free to either speak up or put them in the chat. I am sharing back the PowerPoint slide, I think now. Okay, so next is mental health first aid. So if you've been to an agribility conference, you've probably met Nicolette Kimber. She's a great lady, and she's going to teach mental health first aid in a one-day seminar at the Hendricks County Fairgrounds in Danville. I will send that brochure out as well when we send out. I think a lot of people, if you're not enrolled in AgVet, send me a note. Linda Tarr has a great distribution for AgVets, and we'll include you in that distribution so you can see those opportunities. But she's with Agribility, and they're going to put on a mental health first aid class. Also, Agribility has been asked to support the discrimination financial assistance program. So I'm going to kind of pull that up as well a little bit so that we can kind of take a look at that. Okay, I think I got it up. I'm going to share it now. Let me know if anybody can't see it, but so in essence, what the discrimination financial assistance program is, it's a USDA program under IRA 22007. So it's an opportunity if you have felt discriminated against in the Inflation Reduction Act. It authorizes $2.2 billion in financial assistance for those farmers and ranchers who have experienced discrimination in a USDA farm loan program. So I don't believe the EQIP program qualifies because that is a partnership program. This is more directed for an FSA loan program. But you'll see the application deadline is 31 October. You can apply for free. I've had a couple of queries. I've not tried the application myself. I don't qualify for it. But I've had a couple of queries that there is some justification documents needed. And I've been asked to help on a few of those areas just to help people kind of explain why they were discriminated against compared to another person. But I would definitely recommend that you go online to the 22007apply.gov. To access it. There is an 800 number to get assistance from. So Agribility, Farmer Veteran Coalition, and those programs have been asked to advertise, but the application questions can go to the 1-800-721-0970, and you'll see hopefully the number on the screen. So we're going to continue to advertise it at Agribility and other programs. I'm sure the Farmer Veteran Coalition will as well. And really the intent is to get that information out there so anybody that feels they've been discriminated against has the opportunity then to apply and work forward on that. So I see there's a couple chats. Let me get in there. Yep, we'll confirm that the EQIP does not qualify. Um, and then there is another process if somebody feels they've been discriminated against. And Josh, I see your note about how do you and you have to prove discrimination. I would tell you, Josh, to absolutely go in and start the application. I just know that from my experiences, I've had a few outreaches, and you guys might have seen them on Facebook, to look for farmers that have similar requirements and applied for loans and been approved. So I think there is some, I would say, justification documents needed in there, or comparison to say, hey, this person who has this qualification got it. I have the same exact qualifications and did not. So I think what they're trying to do, and well, if you can't speak on it, that's fine. I think what we're trying to do is we're really trying to flatten out and make sure that there was consistency over the past few years in USDA applying loan processes. Will, did you want to jump in and say anything? If you could.
I honestly don't know much more than you just kind of outlaid, Joe, so can't enrich the conversation, sorry.
I get that. I completely get that. It's a difficult thing. So Josh, I would say absolutely apply for it. It's kind of like that board when you're in the military. I remember I got my year group got kind of messed up in the Army from going from lieutenant to captain in the early 90s. And I had to apply a board packet to actually get my back date of rank. And somebody out there might remember the old Rotmod process. So anyways, I would put in for the process, and see what happens if the application isn't too overwhelming, and see if you get it. Okay, let me move on to the next one. So we talked about mental health, the discrimination financial assistance, resilient food system infrastructure program. Erica did fantastic job laying that out. Let me just pull up this slide again then. Okay, so next two things I want to cover just real quick, and then would love your comments and thoughts, is that so I have done my nonprofit and I've gotten a lot of queries on people wanting to get into farming through the DoD Skill Bridge program. So what does that mean to you as a veteran farmer in the state of Indiana? And really what I'm getting at is, if you would like your farm to be open to a Skill Bridge person. If you're not familiar with the Skill Bridge program, that's a program that I did. It got me into agribility, where at the end of your service, you get the opportunity to intern with a organization or agency, or in some cases, the Army's flexible enough to do a farm where it allows you to have an experience. And then maybe that becomes your post-retirement gig. So when you're in the Skill Bridge program, you still get your basic allowance for housing, you still get your pay, you still get every benefit you've had in the military, except those last few months, you get to use those kind of as we called it in the Army, a permissive TDY, to do something else with your command's approval. Some contention, because commands have to approve it and they can disapprove it at very low levels. But it is an opportunity for you as a veteran farmer. If you want to participate, shoot me a note at ricker2@purdue.edu. And I was surprised. I've gotten in the past 30 days, maybe 8 people from across the country wanting to do Skill Bridge. I will have one coming on board at Agribility in November. But it's, I don't know when I'm going to get somebody, and I have no idea what their flavor is going to be. So funny enough, out of those 7 or 8 that I've got over the past 30 days, 2 of them want to go to Alaska. So I've been working with Alaska. One of them wants to do something in Massachusetts. It is kind of a case management process where you have to know what the individual wants and where they want to go to. But I would say if you're interested, and thank you, Ben. You know, we can talk through kind of how to get you a SkillBridge person if the opportunity exists. And again, you don't know. It's like fishing or winning the lotto. You need somebody on your farm to help. You know, like I'll throw Doug under the bus because he's pretty tough being a Marine. You know, if somebody wants to be a bison farmer and live in central Indiana, you know, I would call Doug up and say, hey man, do you want free help for a guy that's insured, paid, and has to pay for his own housing? So it's a pretty good thing, but I may reach out to you, or I may send notes on Facebook, but just so you know, that is the SkillBridge program. And then, as you know, if you've participated in Ag Vets is the program that stipends your pay to be on a farm if you are a veteran, and or stipends classes for you to attend or conferences. So as I said earlier, Linda Tard Hoosier Uplands does that. It's a great program. It is coming to its sunset for that program, but we hope to get it renewed. If you'd like to be a host farm for Ag Vets, I also get queries quite a bit for Ag Vet hosting, you know, and again, it has to be the right location. You know, nobody's going to drive 200 miles to do 1 day training, or to go there every week, I'm sorry, per day to do, you know, training. Sometimes distance matters, sometimes the commodity matters. But AgVet's a great program that if you are a farmer and you want to host a veteran on your land, please shoot me a note at rickard2@purdue.edu, and I'd be happy to connect you with Linda. And that's in the hopes that, you know, we get the AgVet grant next year as well. And then lastly, and I'll be done speaking and let everybody else speak, is so the state fair on August 18th is the Veteran and First Responder Day. If you are interested in attending that, it is free, and I put the rules down there. First responders, current and former military, and their families receive free admission with an ID presented at the gate. I am good friend of mine recommended me for the featured farmer that day. So I am the featured farmer that day with Addie's Orchard. With that, I get a couple opportunities to include wanting to sell to the public as much as I can, veterans and farming. I'm working on getting t-shirts for those that attend with the nice big logo you'll see in the watermark for them to wear. But I would love to see people there. My agenda is on the screen where I have to be at. But also I would throw out there, I would love to have as many kids and family members in the parade. And that is at 6:15. And we meet at the MHS Family Fun Park, and you'll see that on the map. And the parade starts at 6:30. If you'd like to go, please let me know. And if you don't have somebody that qualifies, you know, maybe somebody in the area or a mother or somebody that wants to go, I do have quite a few extra tickets. Just let me know, and you can email me at the rickard2@purdue.edu email, and I'll get back to you. But so we'd love to see you there at the State Fair on August 18th. Hopefully you'll see, if it's on the news or anything, a lot of veteran and farming logos there as well. So that is what I have. And then again, I'm going to turn it over, I think, to see if anybody has comments or wants to mention anything. First, I want to answer Doug's question. Doug asked, is there funding or cost share for the upcoming FBC conference in November in Washington, D.C.? So right now, Doug, our bankroll is zero, so I can't say there is. And most of the money we've decided to go towards our conference in January. I don't know if FEC is stipending attendance to that, Doug. And Linda won't be able to stipend attendance, and it's really up to Hoosier Uplands and the way they've done that grant, whether the Ag Vets will stipend it. So more to follow on that. If I hear that Ag Vets has been approved, I will let everybody know. And that may be an opportunity for funding the FVC conference in November. So I'll throw that out there. Any other questions or comments amongst the group or thoughts? We are a quiet bunch today, and I understand that. My son just went back to school last week, and it's kind of a weird week when you end summer with your kids back to school. But Tim, you got any thoughts or comments out there? I'm going to throw you under the bus, my friend.
No, you're not throwing me under the bus. Yes, I did have a comment. I don't know if anybody else got the emails, but the FBC is trying to reinvigorate the Indiana chapter. And there was initial meeting, supposed to have been 15 people. However, I was only one of two that showed up. So I didn't know what exactly was what. And I wanted to ask your thoughts about the previous interaction with it that you might have about it.
Tim, I'll be happy to share with you anything I have from the charter or any of the documents I got that the Cindy, Sarah, and I were asked to sign that we didn't. But I would refrain from providing comment, except I'll provide a little bit of fact, and that's that, last year Indiana got about $3,000 in the fellowship fund. And I think Farmer Veteran Coalition does a lot of good things at the individual level. So, I mean, I always encourage people to go for the Homegrown by Heroes label, which is supported by Indiana Grown now as well. I always encourage people to go for the fellowship fund if they can, like any national organization. I think there were some really good things that the Farmer Veteran Coalition does and continues to do. I appreciate the flexibility now that we are a nonprofit as the Veterans in Farming and some of the flexibility we'll have in moving forward.
Well, that's what I was going to do, Joe. I wanted to look over the agreement that it was talking about first before I looked in anything. So are you going to be you're going to be here at the vet barn there Friday with the food thing?
I'm sorry, Friday, where, Tim?
It's there in Avon, the vet barn. It's with Elma.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna make that Friday. I have a commitment
Okay.
at the state fair.
Well, we'll get together and discuss that later on at another time in private. But I just wanted to let you know the flyers. I don't know how many flyers you gave me, but half of them are gone. I got them out there. I've pretty much filled 3 floors of the VA hospital in Indianapolis for you. So the word's getting out. It's at several VFWs and American Legions in the area as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Tim. And again, I don't want anybody to feel that I have any discontent with the Farmer Veteran Coalition. In fact, they reached out to partner with us, and I think we are gonna partner with them to do the farm aid. We're waiting to kind of shape that a little bit and see what that turns into. So we'll probably have more information in September. But they reached out, or their founder, Michael O'Gorman, reached out to Cindy, Sarah, and I, and would like us to do farm aid with them. So again, I think there's a lot of goodness there. So I'll let people make their decisions on it.
Yeah, okay, to answer Doug's question, the flyers had to do with promoting veterans in farming, the organization itself, with a SKU and a contact information for membership. So it was basic.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Tim, and thanks, Doug, for that question. If anybody wants them and I'm in a position to get them to, I have a lot of them. We're hopefully going to work and get them out at the Farm Aid, and they're on the table at the state fair, at least a business card is at the state fair, at the agri-ability booth over in the FFA building. So if anybody would like to see any of that, and I work today 4 hours, and I will work Friday morning for 4 hours as well before 1:30. So again, happy to share anything I can and move forward. Any other questions or comments or thoughts?
Yeah, Joe, Tim again, email me your physical address where you live. You live up around Anderson, is that correct? Where your orchard's at?
I do. I live just south of Anderson.
Okay.
Address is actually in Wilkinson.
Yeah, I must pass your place when I'm going to Grant County. So, I want to stop by. I want to coordinate with you to help you with Jack's farm. So forth.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot, Tim. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And any other thoughts or comments out there that I can be assistance or questions that you guys can ask another, farmer? Okay. Hey, great interaction today. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I know sometimes we have the same people on, but seems like every time we have a few more new people on, and that's fantastic. But it's going to be a great time, I think, for us. I think we got a lot of opportunities. Our next meeting is going to be September 6th at 6 p.m. So hopefully by then we'll have a little bit more definition on ag vets, a little more definition on opportunities with farm aid, and then on the conference as well. So I'll stay on for a couple minutes if anybody has any questions or comments, and I appreciate everybody's time this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Tammy.